Good morning, campers. Let's do a reading, and it's going to be another love reading because February is the month of love, and especially this week approaching Valentine's Day, we're going for love readings. So we're going to start from what's going on in the love department for you, so you know that this is your session. And depending on what's going on, we're going to see whether we do guidance, alignment, love message. We'll see. What's going on? What's going on for this collective in love department? Escape. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more for your first. For your first row. Okay, you have neglected in the center of your spread. I'm hearing a bit of an abandonment wound, to be honest. Not in a sense of activation, not in a sense of something in your conscious mind, but perhaps part of this reading is for you to realize that you have been subconsciously guided by your abandonment trauma when it comes to choosing your relationships and choosing your connections. We have escape. That is your first card, and we have regret as well. What I'm hearing is that I was hearing with this escape, grudge holder, that there is something that you're running away from. There is something that you are avoiding. Maybe you are right now in a conscious mindset. Again, remember, there's conscious and subconscious, and sometimes they're not really in line. So maybe you're consciously escaping from love. You would be saying to yourself, there's still so many things that I have not processed from the past. Maybe there are some grudges, some grievances, some regrets as well. I feel like you're a little bit, what I'm hearing with this regret, you're a little bit on a fence. So on one hand, you don't feel maybe ready to start anything in love right now. You don't feel ready to initiate a new connection. You are avoiding a little bit, you are escaping a little bit, but on the other hand, there's a voice in your head that is saying, what if I will lose something that is actually meant for me? Not possible. I mean, it is possible. I'm always being real with you guys. I always highlight that we can screw it up. But as long as you are aligned to your highest timeline, as long as you are surrendering to your destiny through self-work, through self-realizations, through bringing to the conscious mind whatever's in subconscious to actually be a person that is making choices towards that alignment. So everything that we call inner work, healing, however you want to call it, if you do these things in the process of surrendering to your destiny, your highest, most aligned timeline cannot escape you. So if someone is truly meant to be, it will be. But what I'm hearing as well, that maybe you're saying to yourself that you don't want to have any regrets, and maybe you're missing out on something, but in reality you're not realizing that this is your unhealed and unattended abandonment wound. And your two last cards are into you and conversation. So I was hearing with these two as a sort of a together that maybe there is someone new, someone that recently was brought into the picture, that you are into that person. Maybe you're talking on a phone a lot, whether that's an actual conversation or, just using your phone as in not in person. Let's do another row. Let's confirm. Good vibe, because maybe this person is actually making you feel that I'm not ready for a relationship, but what if I'm missing out? What if they're not going to wait? Well, if they're not going to wait, they're not meant for you. Maybe you're meant to go separate ways and still experience certain things to be ready for each other. Who knows? We never know. It's part of surrendering to our destiny. All right. Guilty. Guilty, overwhelmed. Maybe there are even certain memories from the past I'm hearing that you feel guilt. Maybe you are sitting in this mindset that you're not the best partner right now. It's, like those people that say that I will just cause damage in your life, that I will just, right? So maybe you on some level realize that you have certain patterns and certain behaviors that previously were a bit damaging for the relationships, and I'm hearing issues with vulnerability, with opening up. I feel like the topic of love would be quite. They're showing me, this emoji, with the head like exploding a little bit like that. So whenever you think of love, we have mend. I don't think that mend is to any specific connection in the past that you would want to mend. It's paired with that neglected. I feel like there are things within you that you want to mend, that you want to, it's like making peace with yourself, right? The connection with myself. So you would be realizing that there are things within you that need to be healed, that need to be given love, that need to be worked on, because if you don't do that, quite simply, you're never going to be able to have a mature relationship, which is good, because you're realizing, like most people are stuck in that mindset. So they go from a partner to another partner, and then constantly blaming these partners. Is this person's fault? Is that person's fault? In reality, they're not realizing that they're repeating a pattern. So I feel like you already are realizing that you have been repeating patterns, and that you have been having role in the fact that those relationships were not quite smooth and compatible, and you want to fix that. But I feel like there's something that is that temptation. Let's clarify that final inseparable. And dishonesty. I want to clarify that dishonesty. Kind of want to do one more row. Chaser. I'm hearing this song. I'm into you. Da, 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 creeping. I feel like you're more into this person that you're admitting. This new person that appeared. I feel that overall, you would have been sitting for quite a while in this mindset of, I need to heal, I need to look deeper into my past relationships. There was a pattern that I was repeating. I need to understand my patterns. I need to understand my wounds. And bam, someone appeared, someone that you really feel like maybe it's a deep connection, it's a soul connection. Maybe it can be a detail that there's a distance, that you don't live in the same cities or even countries, or you're currently not in the same place, because we have conversation paired with despite the distance, inseparable. And I feel you're being a little bit dishonest with this person, not maliciously. I feel you two things they're showing to me. One, not admitting that you're actually really, that they ignited something within you, and it's like you feel like literally chasing. But the other thing that I was hearing is dishonesty in the sense of lack of vulnerability. So maybe you're not, honestly and openly addressing your concerns where you are currently, right? This whole situation that we described. Let's clarify that conversation inseparable. Reflection. Maybe you are using a connection with this person to reflect a little bit more. Maybe for the first time you're being more self-conscious when you are connecting, when you are talking to this person. How are you reacting to their messages? How are you connecting? How are you allowing yourself to be vulnerable? And I'm also looking at this, being away from you has allowed me to gain clarity. So maybe I think it's a quite important detail, because we have few cards that confirm that you wouldn't currently be where this person is, which is always the divine orchestration. We don't realize, but everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Maybe it's for you to explore your relationship from a distance, which is as well a beautiful thing. And just a side note, I feel like some people, overall, I feel like there are two types of people. People who understand to a very deep core level that love is a warrior, love conquers all, that they don't really care where the other person lives. A different country, different freaking continent, okay? It doesn't matter. And there are people who by default, they don't believe in long distance relationships. And here's the thing. My belief that it always comes from wounding. It always comes from, because why would you think that you cannot explore a relationship with someone who lives in a different city or a different country? Because you need to control them, because you need to see them, because you need to have them under your, right? So there's a betrayal wound, there's avoidance, whoever by default says, I do not believe. So sometimes people who struggle with these shadows, betrayal wound, avoidance, they, through destined path, they're put in a relationship where they will have to be in a long distance relationship with someone. And obviously, true mature relationship, one way or another, you will have to figure out how to be together in one place, right, in the long run. And my personal belief, I've always felt into that first category. Like, I don't care, you're in China, in Argentina, you're in Australia, I'll go there, right? Obviously, we'll have to explore certain things. There are very few places I wouldn't go to. There are things that we have to explore first, but perhaps, I don't think it's I'm hearing that maybe it's a travel, maybe it's temporary. I don't think like it's such a big deal. I don't feel like for this collective, like you live in Germany and your person lives in Australia, right? I don't think it's either temporary or it's a milder distance. But my personal belief is that there's actually something very beautiful in long distance relationships, because we are forced to connect to each other without actually being physically in each other's energy, holding each other, engaging in intimacy. It's conversations, it's making an effort. You have to make a bigger effort. It's building trust. There's many things that temporarily being in that setting of a long distance relationship can really bring. It teaches us different love languages. It teaches us different ways of communicating to each other. People, we feel into each other's energy fields, even subconsciously, everyone. Even if you're someone who doesn't believe and thinks that energies are cuckoo, when you are with someone, you feel into their emotions subconsciously and their energy. So when they're not there, you have to make an extra effort to understand, to call, to send that message, to sit down, to have that FaceTime. But it can be very beautiful and it can be very thrilling. So maybe it's a detail. There's a reason I was channeling and it was coming to my mind. I want to clarify these three as well. Escape, disagreements. Yeah. I feel your past relationships would have been quite full of discords, of disagreements, clashing characters. It's coming to my mind as well. I've recently posted on my Instagram illusions about love, and I posted a couple of illusions about love. And one of these illusions is when people say the love was there, but we were not a match in terms of characters. I hope you realize that it's an illusion. I hope you realize that this statement only means that people are still bound by shadows. Because if a love is pure, if a love is there, if we have love on the level of a soul, which we soulmates, twin souls, it means that we're operating on the same or very similar frequency of a soul. So we're naturally the flow is there naturally. We're naturally vibing together. What is interfering is the frequency of the ego, which is shadows, limiting beliefs, conditioning, right? So it's not, and people love to say, I've also explained this in this post, people love to say, this is who I am. No, it's not. 90% of traits of character that people say, this is who I am, believe me, as a shadow worker, as someone who themselves been through this journey, as someone who walks people through this journey, it's not who you are. Those are things that happen to you and you attach to them. You associate your persona with them. but they're not who you are, right? Most people don't actually live in their authentic self, crying over you. We have this. We have Queen rising, which is nice. I do feel like you're in your growth era. You're in your era. Like, I want to change. I want to take ownership. I want to do healing. Maybe you've even doing some healing, going for, some sessions here and there, exploring some spiritual practices, maybe energy healing, maybe even shadow work. You would be working on yourself, I feel. But I feel love is constantly on your mind. We have love on the brain. You know that song, Love on the Brain? Who is this? Rihanna? But I don't really have a thing for her. I don't know why. It's like she gives me something. I'm not gonna go there. Side note, do you guys, like, sometimes those people on who claim to be like spiritual teachers and psychics, and they do readings for celebrities? That is such a bad energy. If you are not allowed to tap into someone's energy specifically, like you're naming a person and you're reading their aura, their energy, their timelines, whatever it is that your gift is, you're charlatan, and you're gonna get karma for that. Okay. Because I even feel guilty for saying that I don't have a vibe for her, because it's right. We should never be doing this. And I only tap into energy whoever comes to me on sessions. And if it's a love reading, we tap into the energy of a person connected to them, but only in context of that connection, not them themselves. Do you know what I mean? So there's a reason it came to my mind. Maybe you had some poor experiences with divination, or maybe you had an era where you didn't really understand what true divination, spell work or whatever spiritual practices, what they're really about. But anywho, side note, with that love on the brain, I feel like you are someone that you want love and you dream of love. This is why you are a little bit on the fence. Like, I know I have to heal, but there's this person that I just want to chase. What if I'm going to lose them? What if they're not going to, right? But I feel you're not realizing that there's an abandonment trauma within you that has never been addressed. Okay? That has never been fully integrated. And this is why, people who are truly healed and balanced, we can have a desire for love that's coming from our heart. We can appreciate that love is beautiful, love is amazing. And my personal belief is romantical love is one of the things that we actually come here on earth as souls, because back home when we are awareness, there is no romantical love. We are love. We are one, right? So it's a concept that doesn't really apply to our soul form. This is what we want to experience. That's why it's so shocking to me why people are so afraid of it, right? But yes, it's true that we want to experience this, but it's another truth that if we don't fully heal, we cannot experience it in a beautiful way. We're constantly experiencing it for self-perpetuating loops of pain, of disappointment, of heartbreak, of discords. Things are clashing, we're not a match, right? So yes, it's true that you have to heal. But if your worry is that something will pass you by as you're healing, rest assured, I promise you, it won't. I promise it won't, okay? All right, what we're gonna do, I want to do your energy, what energy you're sitting at, but I want to maybe start from a few of these emotions, and then we'll do a shadow work. Do we want to tap into this person? I don't think so, to be honest. Let's start from your energy. Maybe we should do what's coming in love in the next month, I'm hearing, like 3 months, I'm hearing. Two more. Forgiveness at the bottom of the deck. Okay, we have consistency. That's your first card. we have consistency. I got number 45. I kind of want to read through this. Consistency is a quality of healthy masculine energy within. It's one of the key components to ground any idea into physical reality. Consistency calls for discipline, commitment, focus, and dedication. With those qualities, we can achieve any goal we put in front of us. Through consistency, we can build momentum and create forward movement, which fuels our masculine energy even more by giving us confidence, self-respect, and self-belief. When we are disconnected from our masculine energy, or when it is distorted or wounded, we are unable to put in dedicated and consistent effort into our life. Remember, small steps create big accomplishments. Start from settling short-term goals before you train yourself to think bigger. I'm feeling that you are now in this era of your life when you want to put this consistency and commit yourself to you. Remember, we were talking about healing, that you started your healing. I feel like this person, to be honest, what I'm hearing is that this is a little test. A little test of how much you realize that you desire love so deeply that any opportunity you will want to grab and hold on to it because you have that abandonment wound. A test of how much you are able. I feel like this collective, I feel like at one point you promised to yourself that you're going to spend some time healing, single, really diving into your self-work. So this person, if it's true, this person may be a test of whether you're actually able to commit yourself to you. And it's something that many people don't understand. If you are not able to commit yourself to you, to yourself, no one will ever commit themselves to you. You won't vibrate, right? So again, it's the law of attraction that we talk about on this channel all the time. We have to embody what we want to attract, really embody. So if you want loyalty and commitment, you have to be loyal and committed to yourself, right? To then be able to be that for another person and attract that from another person. So I feel like you are in your era of committing yourself to you. So I have decided that I'm gonna, right? So whatever goals you have, I always say, we should start, this is why the card says it, we should start from short-term goal. If we set something very challenging for ourselves, like you can if you want to, but if we say like next year or next 5 years, that's a bit much, right? So especially if you don't have much pro experience in self-work and setting goals for yourself. So, and then we just disappoint ourselves and there's this guilt, there's this shame. What for, right? Let's start from next 3 months. What do I want to achieve in terms of self-growth, self-work? What practices do I want to commit to, right? And then when we're good, we do a little review, and then we can maybe, raise the bar for ourselves a little bit. So I feel like you need to commit yourself to you, and I feel like that's what you've been doing. We have logic, number 55. I was hearing with this one that you are sitting in your logical mind. So instead of just really trusting, right, that if it's really meant for me, whatever is really meant for me, it will happen. Now I have to dedicate myself to me. I have to listen to that inner guidance. You keep, you with that lizard brain, right? So constantly, oh my God, but what if this person moves away, and what if they meet someone else and I'm going to lose my opportunity? You cannot lose your highest, most... The only person that can stand between you and your highest, most abundant timeline is you, but not you not taking opportunities, but you. I know it's hard. I know it's hard but this is something that we train ourselves to understand through self-work. To really connect yourself to your highest timeline and really stay on that highest timeline, you have to know and feel into the inner guidance and knowing of when to pursue and chase is very different. I've done a video about this recently. When to pursue and when to fully let go and surrender, right? When to focus inwards and when to take action. It is challenging, right? It is challenging. But the more we do that work, and it's what I highlight to you guys always. This is why I always recommend in the beginning of your journey, when you're still not fully connected to yourself, to have a spiritual teacher who will teach you that self-connection, who will teach you that presence with yourself, that commitment to yourself. And once you have that, you will know. You will just know. You will be so deeply connected to yourself that you will know it's time for me to rest. It's time for me to take action. It's time for me to focus on me. It's time for me to ground certain things into existence, right? And you're not going to be constantly, in those loops of your logical mind. We have abundance. Number 8, this is the center of your spread. So maybe you also are in your era of empowerment. I'm hearing feminine empowerment. You're really wanting to figure yourself out. You're really wanting to heal. You're really wanting to be consistent with yourself. Maybe you want to tap into a little bit more to your path, to your purpose, right? So what do you want to do in life? What did you come here to bring into this world through your authentic frequency, and how you can activate the life of abundance? We have passion and fulfillment as well. Beautiful energy. So I feel like you would be in your era of self-work, right? Pursuing your passions, doing things that interest you, doing things that are good for your growth. You want to live a life of abundance. You want to reach a life of fulfillment. You want to be consistent with yourself. There's just a little bit of that lizard brain that is like interfering with you fully tapping into that guidance, because there's still wounds that have not been addressed. But let's confirm. Let's tap into your energy. 9 of Swords. Let's do your first row. We had a little bit of that overwhelm. Remember? Too many. Okay, let's take 2. Yeah. It's a confirmation. Paired with your fulfillment, we have the Star and the Lovers. Love would be what you want. You would be one of those people that when you see a shooting star, if you would have a one wish for the genie in a bottle, you would wish for love. I feel you. I get it. Like I said, me being a goddess of love, a reader of love being one of my biggest missions to bring understanding of love and frequency of love back to people. I get it and I understand it, and I repeat what I already said. As souls, my belief, we come here to experience love in all shapes and form, including romantical love, because as souls, it's not something that we can, experience. But as much as I understand and I support the desire of every soul to meet their soulmate and to live a fulfilled, beautiful, loving relationship, I feel that unfortunately most people are forgetting what you are actually realizing now. Until you heal, I highlight this to you guys always. Our soul has a constant frequency. It's a given frequency of our soul, right? Of our sovereign soul. That frequency for most people is disturbed and disrupted by the frequency of what is your human, your flesh, blood, ego, human existence that emits frequency depending on thoughts, wounds, limiting beliefs, conditioning, what you choose to surround yourself with. The more they clash, the more the soul frequency is suppressed. So when you are sitting still in the frequency of your human, of your ego, right? And it's the human who holds the reins of life. All you're going to attract in love, there will be lessons, because universe wants to help you. Universe wants you to crack open, to allow that frequency of the soul to power through. So you're going to be receiving karmic lessons, harsher, milder, some pleasant, some less. And to really attract true love, true soulmate love, you have to allow that frequency of a soul to power through, to hold the reins, to lead this game, right? Okay, so we have Nine of Swords. So you would be a little bit, in anxiety. I think it's more of an overthinking mind. Maybe you are an overthinker. Maybe you are over analyzing everything. It's like you really want to make sure that you do the right thing, but you don't know what that thing is. I feel you are feeling this urge and this need right now to take action. You want to take action. You want to do something, right? And it's